Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. We're doing a creature profile today, and we're going to be starting on the Mara aspect of the night predators. They're often categorized as the scorpion because it's supposed to be something slightly deceptive, and most of the things involved in this section are taboo subjects for many things. I'll be careful about talking about them because of some of the sources, but when I'll talk about it as it is in the Veil, I'll be more talkative, if that makes sense. But anyway, so as usual, we'll start with a quote from one of my stories where they mention it, and then we'll deal with the background information I had for them, and then my creature profile. So let's see what we get. Let's see how it goes. No one likes to talk about them. They're not like demons, not like the succubae, they're not even hexen. We call them scorpions because if you don't put lavender by your window at night in some places, they all crawl in at night to feast on your screaming. Quote from Snake Amongst the Roses. Amongst the hideous beings to tread the veil and cause nothing but discord and cruelty within the world are the beings known as the Mara. Their emblem amongst the night predators is the scorpion, particularly because the outward appearance, like the claws on a scorpion, belie the nature of their poison and indicate their link to lying and deception. Once linked to the succubae and nightmares, the Mara became a distinction amongst its own kind for mixing with the werewolves, vampires, and particularly the hexen, claiming the title Mara to separate them from their nightmare heritage, to be the most unwelcome and hated beings in the Vale. Now, to explain them is mishmashing a little here, so I'll discuss the thoughts that brought them to me, and mostly it comes from werewolf mythology that's a bit on the odd side. Specifically, I once found a discussion about a type of Nordic werewolf being referred to as a Mara that was a beautiful woman with the head of a wolf but also a kind of witch. Now, I keep searching around, and bear in mind a lot of my Veil stuff I started on a long time ago, and sadly, the location of this information I had, and I cannot seem to find now. However, instead I found a comment on how if a pregnant woman stretched a horse placenta out and crawled under it, if she birthed a son it would be a werewolf, and if a daughter it would be a Mara, this supposedly being the origins of the Mara themselves. This, of course, is used for my Mara. This, of course, I use for my Mara in their origin, but that thereby makes them more mortal than demonic within the Veil landscape. Now, traditionally, the Mara is the nightmare, a female spirit with dark hair and beautiful looks that sits upon the chest of an individual and causes them to either lose energy or be choked. Some are even known to ride their victim, but they are said to be able to slip through even the tiniest crack in wood, and unlike succubae, they are not firmly linked to sexual activity. They are, of course, linked to sleep paralysis. Being a sufferer, I can tell you the sensation of someone sitting on you is quite accurate and terrifying, and some stories even tell of kings who have been killed by a Mara in this fashion. Discussing the Mara more, the Mara, you may also find it under in Scandinavian folklore. They're often described as skinny young women dressed in pale nightgowns and can turn to sand, and that they commonly rode cattle and even horses, leaving mats and knots in their fur and mane as well as exhausting them. Some trees would even curl up and wilt at their touch, and some view them as an omen of death. One creepy description stated if you leave a dirty doll in a family living room, one of the family members would soon die of tuberculosis. The dirty look and pale form of the Mara seemingly linked to a tuberculosis sufferer. But that idea making me think of witchcraft ideas more than just a simple nightmare-inducing creature. Some of the Icelandic sagas link the nightmare or Night Rider as being shapeshifters and beings that can be summoned by sorcerers. Also, according to Paul Devereux, a British author and researcher, his findings state that the mayors included witches that shapeshifted into animals by projecting their spirits out to possess the bodies of other animals whilst in a trance. This is an idea that to me reminded me of an SW, which will be discussed very briefly as they are considered part of the Mara aspect, being spiritual beings that use dark magics and often possess animals to perform curses or to enact revenge or even mischief. Polish mythology that has the Zamora links to a demon of winter, possibly a goddess of it, with the Zamora being a being made from the soul of a person that was either wronged or a sinful woman, or died without confession, although they don't have to be dead, who travels outside the body to cause trouble or change shape to drain energy or even blood at night. And this reminds me a little of the Russian Rusalka, but signs someone could be a Mara linked but signs someone can be a Mara linked to wizard sorcerer ideas, with being the seventh born daughter and having multicoloured eyes or a unibrow, and can also be caused by simple things like mispronouncing a name at baptism or even prayer. It's very confusing. Like with all the Mara and Maya, they attack livestock and people in their sleep, but once more there is a link to sorcery. In fact, within these beings, I developed my Mara to be that being linked to the werewolf slightly, linked to the demonic, linked to the nighttime attack, the tree curler, the cattle rider, and the sorcerer linked to the dark magic and forbidden possession practices. So although I cannot find the initial information that created the Mara in my universe, there is everything that helped build it up, and this is my profile for them. Though I am sorry, it's when I sorted this stuff out, it was what, 2010? So it's been about what, 13 years. So you got to understand a lot of these websites were things like on, what was it, like on Angel Fire, if you're old enough to remember that kind of place. And you sort of realise how a lot of those places don't exist anymore, like GeoCities. So it is frustrating because I can't find the original information for you, but I can find all the little tidbits that were pulled into it, so I do apologise. Anyway, back to my profile for Side Dark, created by pregnant women attempting sorcery upon their child and it being born female, although members of the Hexen who stoop to possession-based magic are turned into Mara. Created for to curse those that mess with dark magic. Created by and after the development of the veil. Physical description. Human in their normal guise, but they can separate from this form at night to possess the bodies of other beings to travel as dust in the wind or within shadows. Once they locate prey, they reveal themselves to be thin, sickly-looking women in white rags at the head of a wolf and flaming eyes. Abilities. They feast on fear and love to cause pain, spread lies, spread rumours, and are vindictive, so they will attack livestock and harass whomever they feel will feed them the most. They will ride the chest of their sleeping victim to make them petrified enough that they can even die of the fear being drained from them. But the Mara are Hexen and so have various powers and abilities that they use particularly to be vindictive and spread curses or harm others. Most known for their attacks on humans to try and kill them, even if they're supposed to be protected beings, and doing it to all other members of the Veil except vampires. Weaknesses. Religious artifacts and exorcisms tend to do the work to get rid of them, but they usually have to have their wolf head cut off. Number unclear. There are thought to be 300. Rather hope that's all that's left. Well-known beings various, but they're known as like the Mara of this place or that place. Names hold power, so no one remembers their actual names. Characters to be announced. I've got some planned, but it's trying to find the spot to introduce them. Final comments. I'm annoyed I could never locate the bit I got the original thing from, but I hope you can see where I've developed them a little from that. I will try and talk about them in one of the culture videos to discuss them in the darkness and the veil some more. So thank you for listening.